Alrighty. Let's turn the mic on and put the mic where it goes. Okay. We're here. We're reading Change of Tide. We're on chapter 7 already. If you want to get it and you want to read ahead because I'm taking too long, this 1 week a chapter thing is just too dang slow for you. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Speaking of Barnes & Noble, you will be watching this on June 27th and June 28th. I have an author signing in Salt Lake City at Barnes & Noble in Salt Lake City. Okay? So my battery is showing that we have medium strength battery. It's not green, it's not red, it's yellow. So we're going to go quickly. Also, my husband took the kids out on a bike ride. So I don't know how long this is going to take. So we're just going to hop in. We're just going to jump in and we're going to go. And it's not a very long chapter. So, chapter 7, Tuesday, December 11th. 11 December 2008. Hallelujah. Things are moving along well. Nikki knows about her powers, has a mentor, and will begin training very soon. We are still waiting on Nellie, but I have a feeling she'll come around. But there is one giant way in which things are not well. I haven't had a vision since I shook Cam's hand on Friday. Grandma seems to think it's a result of not meditating as often as I should. But I feel blocked. I feel blind. And even though I can't explain why, it feels intentional. Emma shook her head and sighed. I'm being silly, she mumbled to herself as she put her journal away. Since Cam had Christmas concert rehearsals for the next 2 weeks, the girls had decided to continue going to Ethel's after school. Emma waited by Nikki's car, trying to talk herself out of her seemingly irrational gut instinct, which is something one must never do. But as Emma was still only 18 years old, she had not learned this important lesson yet. Hey, Nikki said, coming up to the car. Sorry I'm late. It's all right, Emma said. So, she added as Nikki unlocked the car, I have something to tell you. She sat down in the passenger seat. More? Nikki asked, fastening her seatbelt. Technically, Emma said, less. As she backed out of her parking spot, Nikki glanced at Emma quizzically. What do you mean? I haven't seen anything in days, Emma said, which I know doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just, I don't know. Is it possible that this is a no news is good news thing? Nikki asked. Emma barked out a hollow laugh. I wish, but I've never experienced anything like this. I mean, I know it might sound dramatic, but I literally feel blind. How many visions do you usually have a day? At minimum, 1. On average, 3 to 5, Emma said. Holy cow, that's like 30 visions a week, Nikki said, gaping. They're not long or super impressive, Emma admitted. I see mostly small things. Small things like how most of what we see is normal, average, day-to-day stuff and not massive historical events every day. Exactly. Nikki pulled into Ethel's driveway and parked. The girls went into the house without knocking. Ethel had told Nikki she was welcome as Emma to come in any time. Kate and Ethel were deep in discussions, seated next to each other on the closest of the couches. The older women looked up when the girls walked through the door. Merry meet, girls, Kate said, standing up. Are you hungry? Do you need anything before we get started? Ethel asked as she too stood. No, Emma said, hugging her grandmother. The two started toward the kitchen but stopped abruptly. Hugging Kate, Nikki said, let's get to work. She and Kate looked at Ethel and Emma, who both had their eyes fixed on the wall. What is it? Kate asked. Emma extended her hand behind her as she took a slow step backwards. Nikki reached out, taking Emma's hand. As their fingers made contact, the semi-transparent shape of a woman appeared in front of Ethel and Emma. Sorry. Whew. Hopefully that worked and you weren't like, your eardrums were not exploded by my sneezing. I apologize. As their fingers made contact, the semi-transparent shape of a woman appeared in front of Ethel and Emma, exactly in the spot they were staring. Kate took a sharp breath in. Because Kate still had an arm around Nikki, she too could now see the apparition. The woman was average-looking, average height and weight, with short brown hair that looked as though it had been buzzed in places. Her bright green eyes shone with wild haste. Her image seemed to flicker between complete transparency and opaqueness. I don't have time, the woman said. What's your name? Emma asked gently. No, Her image quivered. I'm not dead, but I think I might be soon. Do you need us to save you? Emma asked. Years of practice had bestowed Emma with a steadiness to her voice, despite the tremor she felt inside. No, the woman said, her eyes softening, a small smile playing on her lips briefly. I'm beyond your abilities. But my son, the haste grew in her eyes again. In this in-between place, I can see. Time moves. As she looked around, her form dimmed. I don't have time. She put her hand to her forehead. Listen, she said, taking a step forward. My death is coming soon. He will discover his powers, but he's going to burn the world. He's going to drown it in water. Her appearance waned. What's his name? Emma asked, her urgency now audible. The woman's face contorted. Oh. She vanished. After a moment, Nikki said, What the? My son! The woman's appearance waxed strong. Nikki jumped. Please, the woman said, looking at Emma. I've seen it, you two, and the third. Flickering like a bad light bulb, she glanced at Nikki. The four elements. You're the only ones of time. He's going to... You must save him. Her form dimmed. Stop him. Save the earth. You are the salt. The earth can stop. You can't let him... And her image quavered, and then disappeared. This time, she did not return. What was that? Nikki asked. A coma, Ethel said wisely. The color drained from Emma's face as she turned to her grandmother. That's why she said her death was coming. She was... Emma swallowed. She was still alive, Ethel confirmed. That's why she could not hold her image. Her body kept pulling her back. Is that what being a medium is like? You're going about your day and then boom, you're talking to some half-alive person? Nikki asked. The half-alive part isn't typical, Emma admitted. Otherwise, yes. What do you think she meant by you must save him, stop him? Nikki asked. Ethel shook her head. Perhaps if you stop her son, you can save him? The fire, Emma said. Is that what you think she meant? Nikki asked, eyes wide. She said he's going to burn the world, Emma said, wearing her fear like a coat, thick and uncomfortably hot. Silence swallowed the room as they all wondered how a small fire could translate into the burning of the world. Emma was the first to break the spell of stillness. I'll be in the library. I need to write everything down before I forget it. She grabbed her bag and disappeared to the back of the house. So, Nikki said after a few moments, what do I do? Read, Kate and Ethel said together. Kate wagged her finger as she slipped into a back room. Wait, are you serious? All magic begins in books, Ethel said, beckoning Nikki to the dining room as she walked. Here you are, Kate said as she returned and laid a whole armful of books on the dining room table. There has to be over a dozen here. Nikki picked up a dingy yellow tome that smelled heavily of mothballs. It looked like it had been rebound since its original binding. The pages were no thicker than tissue paper, but luckily sturdier. Yes, dear. Better get cracking, Kate smiled before adding, Ethel, would you like me to put the kettle on? Yes, please. Ethel began stacking the books. Nikki, you'll need to read these first. And that one, she snatched the yellow mothball book out of Nikki's hands. You don't need to worry about that until later. She pushed a pile of 6 books towards Nikki. So, start on the top? Nikki looked at the large leather-bound book on the top. The leather looked to be in good condition, which it was, having been recently waxed. Yes, and make sure you don't spill anything on these books. Ethel peered over the yellow book she was now flipping through. Most of them are older than the pyramids. She raised her eyebrows as if to make a point before settling back down with the yellow book. But Nikki's face scrunched up as she shook her head. Paper wasn't even invented until after the pyramids, wasn't it? Just because the humans didn't have it doesn't mean we didn't, Ethel said from behind her book. Considering this, Nikki grabbed the leather-bound book and opened it. A record of the prophecies made by the High Priestess II, Mela Vates, was written across the title page in spidery handwriting. Now, Nikki mouthed the name Mela Vates. Sighing, she sat down and began reading through the second High Priestess's prophecies. Who wrote this? December 11th, 08. Nikki and Emma went back over to Emma's grandma's place today. They asked me if I wanted to come, but I lied and said my dad needed me home. After the freaky things that happened the first time I went there and all the stuff that has happened since, I think I'm going to steer clear of the whole place. I'll do my part for the project, and then I'm done. I've got my whole life to figure out now that I can't surf because I'm... Nellie sighed. She was in the middle of her unmade bed, staring at the wall without seeing it. The word mermaid buzzed through her mind like the world's peskiest fly. Flopping back onto her pillows, Nellie sighed audibly as she wondered how she was supposed to rewrite her entire life. Rolling to her side, she flicked her journal closed. Nellie was now face to face with Ron's journal, which sat idly on her nightstand. Of course, she only thought of it as her mother's book. Grumbling, she rolled over to her other side. Nellie had made up her mind to never turn into a mermaid, ever again. It was bad enough that she couldn't surf. There was no way she could go through the painful process of turning every time she set foot in the ocean. As Nellie sat up, she glancing at her mother's book again and debating whether she wanted to read more, her cell phone rang. She looked down at the caller ID. Wyatt. She picked it up. Hey, she said. You're alive! Nellie jerked the phone away from her face. Dude, she shouted at it. Not so loud. Sorry, Wyatt said. Nellie moved the phone back to her ear. I'm just stoked to hear from you. I haven't seen you at the lineup, and you're not talking to me at school. What is up? Turn the pages. Nellie sighed. I haven't felt well. Bull, this is me. What's wrong? Nellie felt strange keeping a secret from Wyatt. They had never kept secrets from each other before. She had been there for him in the first grade when his parents had divorced, and he was there for her when her mom died the next year. There was nothing they didn't share. Yet, Nellie still couldn't bring herself to tell him that that she was part fish. Nothing, she lied. I just needed a break. Break? From what, surfing? Wyatt scoffed. All of it, Nellie said. She could hear the stress in her voice. Do you really want me to talk to you about every single girl problem I have? You never had issues telling me about your period and all that other girl stuff before. I've heard it all. So, what's your deal? Wyatt shot back. She had known it was a long shot. Forget it, Wyatt, but just remember that you leave every other summer to go hang out with your dad in Nebraska. Do I complain about how you don't call me every second while you're there? About how you don't tell me every little thing that's going on in your life? Wow, he said, his voice low. Seriously, Nels? That's how you want to play this? She might as well have punched him in the gut. She could hear the hurt in his voice. Wyatt, it's like I don't even know you anymore. You know what? Just forget it. He hung up. Ugh! Nellie flopped onto her bed, rolling over and screaming into her pillow. What's going on in here? Joe came into Nellie's room. Were you yelling at Wyatt? She looked genuinely concerned. Yes, Nellie said, her voice muffled by her pillow. You know why he's pissed, right? Nellie sat up and looked at her sister. 'Cause I missed Dawn Patrol for the last week and I haven't called him back in a while, Nellie guessed. No, Joe scoffed. He had this huge surprise party planned for your birthday and you bailed on him. He looked like a total grom. He waited for like 5 hours after everyone else called you a no-show. Joe sat next to Nellie on the bed. He did not. He would have made up an excuse or something, asked me if I wanted to go hang out or bowling or night surfing, Joe prompted. Nellie groaned, sinking back into her pillows. No wonder he's pissed. Joe shrugged. You should cut the guy a little slack, you know. Nellie's phone buzzed again. She looked at it. Andy, Nellie answered. Stop calling me! And hung up before he could say anything. Oh, when did everything get so complicated? Joe shrugged. She got up, and as she walked out of the room, she said, I already know what always clears my head. Nope. I'm trying to read the same sentence again. Nellie glanced at her mom's journal. She picked it up and threw on a hoodie before grabbing her keys, hopping in the truck and heading to the cove. The drive was silent and uneventful. I'm not getting into the water, she said aloud as she pulled into the parking lot. The hike down to the cove was easier this time. The ocean was flat and glassy. Nellie sat at the waterline, letting it lap at her toes gently. Nothing fishy happened. She set her mom's book down in the water, and it sprang open, back to the page with her mom's writing on it. Mom, Nellie said, gently touching the page gently. What do I do? I don't want to be this. I just want my life back. She didn't dare flip a page yet. She wasn't ready. Even though she had thought about it before, it was too possible right now, too real to try. This was the place where everything she had known transformed, where everything she had dreamed died, where she had changed. Wyatt was right. He didn't know her anymore, and neither did she. 11 December 2008. Nothing since the woman. At least my medium powers seem to be in working order, even if my psychic ones aren't. Rochelle said my lack of visions might be stress-related. I mean, I can see where she's coming from. I haven't been exactly religious in my meditations lately, but it feels Emma chewed on her nail. Sinister? Maybe I'm being overly dramatic, but I feel purposefully blinded. Like, it's not something I can control, but something is controlling me. I'm getting a phone call. I'll have to call back. I need sleep, Emma said to herself as she ran her hands through her hair. She closed her journal and flopped down onto her bed. Guilt crept in her body. She had just admitted to being less than disciplined in her meditation. Letting her body slide out of her bed and onto her floor, Emma grumbled. She grabbed a pillow from her bed and threw it on the floor. She sat on it cross-legged and rocked around a bit, hands on knees, eyes closed. She continued to wiggle and readjust. There was a soft knock on the door. Come in, Emma called, her eyes still closed. It's me, Nikki said, glancing around the room until she found Emma seated on the floor. What are you doing? Emma opened her eyes and looked at Nikki. I'm trying to meditate, but I'm not having much luck. Emma clapped her hands on her thighs and stood up, stretching her back. So, what do you need? I thought you needed something, Nikki said. I was told you called Ethel and told her you needed me at your house right away. Emma furrowed her brows. That's strange. I would have just called you. She put her hands on her hips. That's what I thought. So, you don't need anything? Nikki asked. Emma shrugged. Not really. Sorry to drag you out here. Nikki chuckled. No worries. It was nice to get a break from my mom ignoring me. Nikki turned to go back through Emma's bedroom door. Nikki turned to go back through Emma's bedroom door. Emma reached out to pat her friend's shoulder, and as soon as her hand touched Nikki's shoulder, Emma was pulled into a vision. Hold it, Nellie, someone screamed. I'm trying, it's too big, I can't control it, I'm not powerful enough, Nellie cried back. A giant wall of water threatened to crush her. She was standing with her legs apart and her arms up, palms out, as though she was literally using her body to hold the water back. Suddenly, Nikki was at her side. She grabbed one of Nellie's outstretched hands and lifted her own. Get them out of here, Nikki yelled. She began murmuring words, a different language. The wall of water was crashing down on all of them. Emma sat up in her bed, coughing violently. Her lungs burned, her head swam, and her heart pounded madly in her chest. When she had finally caught her breath, she looked around her room. Where was Nikki? She grabbed her analog alarm clock. It was 3 in the morning. Kay, shush! It was 3 in the morning. It was just a dream. Everything had just been a dream. Emma jumped out of bed and raced down the hallway, calling for Rochelle the whole way. Rochelle opened her bedroom door. Although she was closer to 60 than 40, at this moment Rochelle looked reminiscent of 5-year-old Shirley Temple, her hair in curlers while she rubbed the sleep from her eyes. What? What is it? Are you okay? Rochelle said, her voice as bleary as her eyesight. I had a vision, but it wasn't a vision. It was like a dream vision, like I was sleeping, but I didn't know I was asleep, and I had a vision, so I thought it was a vision, but then I woke up and it was actually a dream, Emma explained quickly. Slow down, Rochelle said, patting Emma's shoulder. Emma explained what happened, this time slowly and in order of her experiences. When she had finished, Rochelle looked at Emma. "We need tea," Rochelle said finally. Emma followed Rochelle to the kitchen and sat down on a stool at the island. She picked at her fingernails as Rochelle prepared 2 mugs of tea. "So you touched Nikki and had the vision?" Rochelle asked, handing Emma a mug of chamomile. "Yes," Emma said as she took the mug and set it on the counter. "Perhaps you couldn't get the vision without help from Nikki," Rochelle said almost to herself. She sipped her tea. "But it was a dream. She wasn't actually there to lend me her power," Emma insisted. "No," Rochelle said slowly, "but you thought she was." "So you're saying the fact that I haven't had any visions is in my head, that I'm..." Emma paused, trying to find the right word. "What, afraid? That I'm afraid of what I'll see?" Emma frowned, torn between being hurt by the notion that this may have been her fault after all and wanting to get answers, even if she was at fault. "I don't know about that," Rochelle said, "but I do know 2 are often more powerful than 1. I need to call Mom about this." She squeezed Emma's shoulder, encouraged her to drink her tea, and left to phone Ethel and fill her in. December 11th, 2008. Emma and I went over to her grandma's to learn how to train, and we got some weird message from an almost dead lady about stopping or saving, or both, her son. After that, cue a million hours of reading. Grandma said my official training can begin tomorrow, provided I finish my reading, all 1,000,000 pages of it. I've read so many prophecies, I've got them bouncing around in my brain. I'm too tired to try and concentrate, especially since I have no idea what I'm even reading for. "Hey," Cam said, "Grandma dropped this off for you." He handed Nikki a crumpled envelope. She reached across her bed to take it. "Thanks." Nikki waited until he went back to his room before opening it. "My dearest little witch, there is an emergency to which I must attend. I will be back as soon as I possibly can. I would not leave unless I thought it vitally important. Until I return, study meditation with Emma. Blessed be, Grandma Kate." "Great," Nikki said under her breath. She checked the time on her phone. It was already 11:30, definitely too late to call Emma. This would have to wait until morning. Nikki put her journal away. She turned her bedroom light off and her bedside light on, snuggling down to read more. While several magical creatures such as mermaids, witches, mediums, and Raju appear While several magical creatures such as mermaids, witches, mediums, and Raju already appear human and are thus able to easily hide their magic to avoid persecution, other magical creatures such as fairies, elves, phoenix, and dragons have had to learn to take on human form so as to blend seamlessly in with those around them. Although some claim, Nikki would not discover what it was some claimed until morning, for she had fallen fast asleep. End of chapter 7. So, again, if you can't wait, if you're just dying to read chapter 8, we're on Amazon. I'll put a link somewhere. Hopefully YouTube will actually let me link it for a change. If not, Amazon, A Change of Tide.